Hi, so we are down in the studio. We are gonna get, we're gonna get muddy, well, dirty. We're not gonna work on the wheel, it's not gonna be super muddy. Um, I'm gonna roll out a slab and make one of the first plates that I ever made when I got into hand building. Uh, Super simple, something that you can acquire the tools for not a ton of money. Everything about acquiring tools can be very expensive. So this is going to use a paper plate for a template. So obviously your grocery store aisle. The cake platters sometimes at like Michael's have some nice rim designs. You can buy specific pottery tools with different rim templates, but this is, a thing of paper plates. I've had this for 7 years, these plates. This is from Michael's in their wood section, like, to do a plaque or something like that. It has a beveled edge on it. I don't know if you can see that. So it fits pretty nicely inside of there. So that's going to be our template for what we're making, and I'll show you how to use this to form it. I have a slab roller. I don't roll out clay with rolling pins because I have a slab roller. But I am going to show you how to roll out a slab. This is a tool you do not have to use. You can use a wire tool. A wire tool is a must. But this is a slab cutter. It's like a huge cheese cutter. So this helps me to get a really consistent slab, so when I roll it out, it's really even. With smaller pieces like we're gonna do, easily you could do a wire cutter. I like this because when I roll out on the wheel or on the slab roller, to get slabs big enough to do those large vases, I've got to have a pretty good sized piece of clay. And using this, I can measure it. There we go. So can you see the little grooves? So I can repeat the same size over and over and keep things consistent for production purposes. So yeah, let's go ahead and start making this plate. I still use the plates. That was one of the first things I made hand building, and I have them in my kitchen. So here we go. So I've cut out some clay and I have been stretching it. I failed to hit start, so I'm a little farther along. We have the sticks. The clay will be this. This is how we get it nice and consistent. So the clay will not be any thinner than that. I have a large, and my second stick is a yardstick because I've lost my other, because I never use the sticks anymore, but those are pretty darn close. So I'm going to use the yardstick and my piece of trim. I have a large roller. My friend Renata went to the lumber yard, got a piece of wood. I believe her husband churns these on his wood lathe and then put an end piece on it, but I don't know that that's necessary because I don't roll it like that. I do it from here. So you're going to just roll it. It's going to get stuck to the board, so you want to pick it up so that it can move. And I think I am, so it is running on the sticks and it's not hitting the clay at this point. So I am all done. You missed a lot of that rolling. Oh, just barely. So I'm going to put my plate on here. Once again, this is my template for my shape of my rim. Take my needle tool. Actually, no. I am going to start with my texture and then cut it out. So I'm just going to mark around the edge with a wet finger where I need the texture at. I am going to use, once again, my friend Renata went to a fabric store that was closing out and bought a bunch and then cut down, you know, they were big long pieces she was buying, cut them down and split them up. So there is all kinds. I really like that. That was a thought, but I'm gonna roll with this one. This has got some flowers and some leaves. So I am gonna use this for my texture. Just gonna roll it into the clay. The reason I'm gonna cut the piece after I roll is this is gonna stretch it out a little bit. So if you want your plates to stack in the cabinet, you want them to all be similar, right? Let's see if you can see that. Once I get some glaze on it, that will really show. So let's put our plate back on there. A little more on this side. I overlap so there's not a blank space, and it all works out. You don't really notice that it's not all one piece. Take my needle tool, trying to keep the needle tool vertical so that I'm not making a big angle on it. We're going to do a lot of smoothing and rasping on the rim, so it's not the end of the world if you have a little bit of angle. There it is. All right. So there is our plate. Let me move. This is, we're gonna come back to this, but I'm gonna move it out of the way for now. All right, so here is the beginning of our plate. I have some old sheets. Some people will use plastic to do this, but I am gonna just go around and smooth the edges a little bit with the sheet. The sheet doesn't leave marks, and it just kind of gives me, smooths that down so it's not jagged or clay chunkies or that kind of thing. There's one right there. Okay, so that is the face of our plate. I am going to set up, because this is what I call my poof plate. Let me get that out of the way. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. I could have a pole barn and not have enough room, it feels like. So now I'm going to take my sheet again. I just took one top sheet and cut it up in nice squares. I use these all the time. Normally, I would let this clay firm up a little bit. It is pretty wet. I'm going to take, with this part of it down, try to get it centered. Usually if you look from two directions, so you're looking here and here, and then here and here, you can get pretty close. And you'll probably hear me say this quite a lot. They don't have to be perfect. They need to be functional, but they don't have to be perfect. That's part of having a unique piece of pottery. All right, so I have it centered. I have my cushion, and this is going to make my rim. Okay, so I have lifted the sides. Once again, this is very soft, so I'm not going to do a lot of picking up like that. I am going to get a board, and we're going to work on it like this. That did not work out. Okay. My plate edges are, I think we're okay. At this stage, the clay is very forgiving. So I'm going to leave it hang like that. As it firms up, I will kind of pull these out. I don't want it to be bowl shaped. So now we want a foot. A foot is going to be nice for glazing purposes. If I put a foot on it, then that will allow me to glaze the whole bottom except for that small area. So I'm going to smooth it out. So do as I say, not as I do. I should have used my rib when I first had this as a slab. There's a real curve to the video taking, a learning curve. I am in the beginning stages, and doing a tutorial is a little more involved than opening a kiln. Okay, so now I am going to get my foot. I'm going to move this to the side. We are done with the cushion, so this can get out of the way. Here's a board to make our foot. Okay, so the piece that we had cut off, I'll rib it now. Ribbing does a couple of things. It takes out any unwanted texture. It compresses the clay, helps make it a little bit stronger and cohesive. And that side has texture, so. All right. This is a corn cob end pieces. I bought these probably in 2019. 2019 is when I started doing pottery, and I'm still using the same one. So there's a few dollars very well spent. This is what I'm going to use to cut the foot. So I'm going to have a consistent width. If you wanted something wider, you can get your pliers and adjust them, or more narrow, obviously. So I may need to cut a couple because of the size of the slab I have left. So I'll go over here and do that one. And that one. All right, that should be plenty. Move these to the side. I have a really nice Shimpo banding wheel, but I also have, I bought these at, I believe, TJ Maxx. Whenever I'm in those kind of stores, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, whatever, I always go in the kitchen section and see if I can find some little Lazy Susans. It makes this a lot easier. So let's see what we're gonna need. Keeping this dry while I get it figured out. I don't need to make a mess. I make enough messes. Actually, we've got a nice even circle. I think this is a good spot for a foot. Let's get it centered on there a little bit. So I am just gonna lay a line right there. That should help line it up, and we can adjust as we go. Just made a mark very lightly, and that will be the inside of my foot ring. If you're making a set, this is just going to be a one-off. I've made a lot of planters lately, so it'll be really nice to have a tray for a planter is what I'm thinking. Okay, so we are a little short. Here's where my second piece is going to come in. Lay it right on top so we get it lined up. And then, so here they are, too high. I'm going to give it a little support. I don't want to just crush, but I am going to cut at an angle on both of these. It will make it, can you see? So I'm at an angle like that. And I'll probably have to add a little bit of clay. Take out, okay, so they've got a little bit of a bevel, and that's actually, when I pulled on it like that, I stretched it out a little bit. So I'll cut it again. All right, so that is going to be what I've got. I am going to lay another little mark on the outside. Get this out of the way. I'm going to take these off. Clay likes clay. It already wants to stick. It's very wet. Take this off. Lay them upside down. There you go. I'm going to take my serrated rib to score. This is a very handy tool. If you don't have this, you can use a cocktail fork, works very nicely. A regular fork will work. You can take your needle tool and scruff it up. You're making more surface area, is the concept here, for them to stick together. And I'm going to do the same thing on top of, maybe that'll be better, on top of my plate. I'm not really super worried about scoring this one because this clay is so wet. I have gone way outside of that line I made for myself, the thickness, but we'll clean that up with a paintbrush. Add a little bit of water. what they call slip and score. The water would be my slip part. I'm not actually adding slip to it. Okay, so this, I've got that side wet. I've got this all scored up. I'm going to pay attention to the inside, except I'm putting that on backwards. The inside of the circle I made. Stretched it out again. I'll cut it right there. Kind of take a look at it. It's going to have a little bit of flexibility to round it out when I get it firmly attached. We can work on that. We can work on that. I've got a couple of little low spots. Could use just a little bit more clay and very little bit. I'm going to make the smallest little coil and just lay it in there, and then I can blend that and that'll help fill it. I can put more in if need be. Okay. I wonder if I get right up on top and point this down, if you'll be able to see this a little better. How about that? All right, take my nice sculpting tool and just kind of blend it in. All right, all right. I am going to, this is a pretty janky foot so far. I've still got that circle board underneath, holding it steady. I did not do a good job laying that down on there, so I'm kind of trying to get it to appear a little bit more round than we had it there in the beginning. We're getting there. All right. Probably. I think it's time to clip the fingernails. I got some nail marks in here. All right, so back to my smoothing. I use this sponge for everything. It is just such a nice finishing All right, I want to seal up around here a little better, so I am just gonna get in there. Same thing on the outside. When it is firmed up, I'll be able to flip this over. It is not ready for that at all. If I flipped it over right now, these sides would just flop out. So I need to leave this sitting for a little while. I will stick my name on there. Right. When it's firmed up, I will take a little scrubby and clean that up, get the burrs off from it. So that is how you would put it together. That is not a complicated project. The results are very desirable. That's a nice project, very functional piece. When that's done, I'm excited to see what the pattern is going to look like glazed. That'll be, that's part of the fun, is figuring out what glazes you want to use. So here is one of the dishes, maybe up a little bit. Here is one of the dishes that I made long, long ago. Same template. And they're very nice. The bonus where I'm at in pottery making to these slab built plates is I can make some very nice, consistent, stackable plates. The wheel throne, I do like to put a rim on it. I like that rim to sit up a little bit, and that is very fussy, getting some pieces together that you can stack nicely in the cabinet. So that's a huge bonus for that. Use them for dinner plates, salad plates. Obviously, if you want a bigger plate, you just get a bigger, maybe a charger or something. Placemats, you know, in the kitchen aisle at your box stores, there are pottery tools everywhere. So I hope you guys try this. This is kind of an entry-level project, but it gives some great results. So that is my tutorial on making plates. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to getting this glazed and sharing in a unload, I should say. And if you guys enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate it if you clicked like and subscribe. If you've got some questions, comments, good, bad, indifferent, if you would like to see some other projects, please put them in the comments. I love reading the comments, and I'll try to respond to everybody. I am working on a tutorial for the large vases, but that is an ongoing project. It takes a long time to build those because they're big, and you need to let it dry and take it slowly. Patience is the key with them. So I will see you next time.